Hello guys, so welcome to our discussion. So this is our post-lab on hybridization techniques. So your hybridization techniques, also called as your blotting techniques. So they are methods in molecular biology where a complementary nucleic acid binds or anneals to each other. So later I'll show you how. So these methods allow scientists to detect, identify, and analyze DNA, RNA, protein in complex samples. So they are important in research, in medicine, and in forensic science. So from last time, you have illustrated the different blotting techniques. So this um, hybridization techniques is their umbrella term, and um, what we do is we run them through gel electrophoresis, the samples that we need to identify. Then they are blotted in a paper or filter paper, and there is annealing that happens. It binds to tags or probes. These tags or probes are labeled with radioactivity, chemicals, or fluorescence so that we are able to identify. So these probes will produce a signal so that we could identify our DNA, RNA, and protein molecules. So first one is your southern blotting. So your southern blotting detects your DNA. Yan. So in the south side of the Philippines, letter D, durian is found. Okay, so that's our mnemonic. So it is used to detect your DNA sequences. So all southern blots detects only DNA. So first, the DNA fragments are differentiated based on size using your electrophoresis. Then it is transferred or blotted onto a membrane. That membrane may be nitrocellulose, filter paper, or whatever. Then, after it's immobilized, a labeled DNA probe. So, this one is complementary to the target sequence, the one that we ran under gel electrophoresis, to allow hybridization. So, they will anneal or bind to each other. And the detection of the label indicates the presence of a specific DNA. Okay? So, your DNA sample will, or your DNA target will anneal or hybridize with your DNA with a labeled probe so that we could identify it. So, based on the image, ayun nga, iraran sa electrophoresis. So, you could not add the probes directly on the gel electrophoresis. Why? Because agarose are slippery, it has water. So, we want to immobilize. Ayaw nating gumalaw yung mga sample. That's why it is blotted in a membrane or a paper. And once it's blotted in a membrane or a paper, you will add your radioactive nucleic acid probes. And these probes, example, if you use radio label, you will expose it to a film so that you could see it under auto radiograph. So Southern blot analysis is good for detecting DNA. So our biological samples may come from blood and tissue. So sometimes our biological samples are too long, so we could digest it, we could break it down using our scissors. Our scissors that we use in molecular biology are restriction enzymes. The resulting DNA fragments are separated using your electric current to move through your gel, okay? To separate the smaller from the larger fragments. The DNA fragments are transferred out into your gel or matrix onto a solid membrane, which is then exposed to a DNA label probe with radioactive, either fluorescent or chemical tag. Later on, we will learn more different tags. The tags allow any DNA fragment containing the complementary sequence with the DNA probe sequence to be visualized within the southern blot. The method is from Edwin Southern, no? So Southern is the name of the person who made this technique. Okay, so Southern blot is for DNA. So the DNA probe, the one that when we say probe, it is labeled, it is complementary to your target DNA. And once the target DNA is present in your samples, it will light up under autoradiogram, under our gel document, under other methods in detecting like fluorescence, chemical, ganun po. No? So Southern blots could be used in detection of your human tumors. Your human tumors changes in the number of copies or structure of cancer-causing genes are frequent. Southern blot analysis can be used to investigate whether a gene is amplified, deleted, or structurally rearranged. Later, I'll show you a photo on how this is happening. So what's great about Southern blot, no? So anything related to DNA, anything that you want to identify, if there's a missing nucleotide, if there's translocation, fusion of different genes, we could detect it, especially in cancers and in tumor. Southern technique is labor intensive. Okay, so it's particularly used for detecting large deletions in tumor genomes. So the steps are extracting your DNA, digest it using restriction enzyme. So this is our scissors. You transfer it to a membrane, you blot it. Probe hybridization. So you add probe. That probe may have radio label, fluorescent label, and detection of signal. So these are the uses of our southern blot. For northern blot, yan, sa north side ng Pilipinas, may rice, no? So it's RNA, north. So for northern blot, it detects your RNA molecules or especially your mRNA. So the same thing is true with the steps in southern blot, okay? You separate your samples in electrophoresis, you transfer it to a membrane, also called as the blotting process, and it's hybridized to a labeled nucleic acid probe. Yeah, so this is a reagent, okay? So the amount of signal reflects the gene expression levels, okay? So the more fluorescence, the more radioactivity, the higher the concentration of our RNA, no? So if it's southern blot, the more signal, the higher the concentration of DNA. So, yan, the same rin, no? Gel electrophoresis, you will blot it, you will immobilize it. The RNA now is transferred to your nitrocellulose membrane. Then, you will add your probes and you expose it to film yan. So, pag autoradiogram, the label is a radioactive label. You could you could use this link, no, to watch video on northern blot. So your northern blot, it's good for blood, for if your sample is blood, tissue, and it also uses different labels. So in human tumors, so changes in the expression levels of cancer-causing genes. So your cancers could be changes in your DNA, could be changes in your RNA. That's what your blotting techniques measure, no? However, we have epigenetic mapping wherein if there are chemical changes with your DNA, yun naman ang dinedetect ng epigenetics mapping. I just want to add it here. Overexpression means the cancer cells produce or transcribe too much RNA. No? So what's good about northern blot is we could quantitate the amount of RNA that is expressed. Okay? Overexpression, no? Cancers are usually overexpression. No? Expression of the genes is over-amplified. Kaya nga excessive yung growth ng mga cells. No? Underexpression means the cancer produce or transcribe too little RNA from the gene. Underexpression can happen when a gene is inappropriately deleted or turned off or turned down. So, yan, the steps, pareho lang. You extract your DNA. However, there's no digestion of DNA. We have gel electrophoresis because RNA samples are not that long, no? You blot it to a membrane, you add probe, and it will hybridize to the probe, and the signal is detected. So RNA are good for measuring gene expression, for detection of RNA viruses, identification of RNA transcript size. So your mRNA, kung gaano siya kahaba, no? Study of gene regulation and developmental biology. Okay. So now Western blot. So it's for the detection of proteins, okay? And so Western blot sa west side ng Pilipinas, no, may piyaya. Okay, I don't know if you know that. So pasalubong 'yan sa western side sa Visayas. So Western blotting detects specific proteins using antibodies naman to, no? Proteins are separated by your SDS page. So ito yung vertical electrophoresis, transferred to a membrane, then detected using a primary antibody. Okay, so what's unique now about Western blot is it's an antigen-antibody reaction. A second antibody linked to an enzyme or fluorescent marker produces a detectable signal. Okay, so we use antigen-antibody techniques. Okay, and there are two antibodies. The secondary antibody is tagged with enzyme fluorescent or fluorescent. Okay? So it's used for protein detection. Okay? So for protein detection, when we run it for electrophoresis, it's in vertical orientation. Okay? So ito may antibodies and antigen. So sa Western blot wala. So, for the basic steps, extract the protein, use SDS-PAGE electrophoresis, transfer it to a membrane, the antibody binding. So, the secondary antibody acts as the probe, right? And next is signal is detected. So Western blot in the Philippines back then was very popular for confirmatory of HIV infections. But through time, we found out that the turnaround time for confirming for HIV usually because of Western blot, lasted like 3 months, 1 month to 3 months, no? So the cycle of diagnosis to treatment has been delayed, no, because of the long turnaround time of Western blot. So we have changed it now, and we found out that Western blot produces false positive reactions in HIV infection. Okay, so now we use third generation and second generation thin chromatography test kits for confirming HIV. No, we have RIVDA, an algorithm for confirming HIV. So now within the day is a patient who tested who test for HIV could have their samples confirmed within the day already. Yan, to facilitate shorter turnaround time and to connect them immediately to the treatment hub. So next is your in situ hybridization, or it's a type of spatial localization. So when we say in situ hybridization, in situ means in space or inside. Okay. So what's amazing about in situ hybridization? It detects both DNA and RNA. Okay. And the DNA and RNA is within the cell or tissue. Okay? So here is the we don't extract the DNA or RNA from the sample. So the sample is still intact. Okay? So in situ hybridization is popular usually in the histopathology section or the not anatomical section. Okay? Later I'll show you an image. So there's still a probe which are hybridized to the target sequence in fixed cells or tissue sections. The signal shows that the exact location of the gene. Yan. So what's great about in situ hybridization is, example, this is the cell, right? So you could find exactly where in the cell the gene is expressed, okay? Maybe it's on the left side only. Maybe it's on the right side. Maybe the gene is only expressed in the upper side. Some cells may show expression of the gene, other cells may not show expression of the gene, okay? So the keyword is the cells are intact still. Okay? So, for the steps in situ hybridization, we still have labeled probes, okay? So the DNA, the genes inside the tissues are denatured. So they separate in single strand. The probes hybridize into the DNA of the DNA target, and it is detected under the microscope. So fluorescent microscope, if they use a fluorescent dye and analysis. So the essential components of in situ hybridization, since we use tissue, there is the need to fix the tissue or the cell. Yan. So of course, lagi dapat may target nucleic acid. So what gene are we looking for inside the tissue or the cell? Is it the HER2 gene, the Philadelphia chromosome? I'll show it to you. So hybridization techniques, kailangan may labeled nucleic acid probe, no? Kundi walang magha-hybridize. And we have buffers to control the pH. We have your detection system to detect the signals. If there is overexpression or underexpression, we have washing steps and microscopy or imaging system. So, ayun na. I-fix yung tissue. Ayan. I-attach yung mga probes. It will hybridize, washed, and detected under the microscope. So, kaya in the first slide of in situ hybridization, there is the term local spatial localization, no? What's great about in situ hybridization, in place you will find whether the gene is inside the cell or not, which genes are affected, which genes are not affected by that abnormality. Detection of viral infections in the tissue, prenatal genetic testing, and identification of gene expression. So, your in situ hybridization differs on how the probes are. So, we have fish, fish, and rish. Okay. So, fish is most widely used in the clinical laboratory. CIISH, common in pathological lab. SISH, good for clinical testing. And R, ISH, historical and reasoned method. Okay, let's start. So, in situ hybridization, guys, the tissue is on the slide, okay? So, cross out gel electrophoresis, okay? There's no gel electrophoresis. So, now, the DNA are now immobilized on the slide, okay? So, there's no blotting here and there's no paper involved, okay? Because the DNA or the target DNA is already attached on the slides, okay? So, next is you will add the probes so that the sample could be seen under fluorescent microscopy. Yan. Ano lang naman. So, yan, it uses fluorescent dyes for chromosomal activities. This is the most widely used, the most popular, no, fluorescence. So guys, in this image, yan. So these are cells, right? So your cells has different chromosome. And what I'm showing you is your Philadelphia chromosome, no? Ma'am, why are you talking about Philadelphia chromosome? So if you are in your hema 2, no, having the Philadelphia chromosome is when there is a translocation, a fusion, and an exchange of a portion between chromosome 9 and chromosome 22. Okay? They becomes, in some instances, they fuse together. There's translocation between them. And so once it happens like this one, there's a fusion, yan, yung nag-overlap, 'di ba ang galing makikita sa cell. So yung mga nag-overlap, yung green at saka yung pink, not all, okay? In certain areas of the cell. So this new gene produces a signaling protein which is tyrosine kinase. It acts like an on switch. So this gene, no, has turned on something. What? Has turned on something. Which one? It forces the bone marrow to pump out massive amounts of abnormal white blood cells. So guys, if there is massive amounts of abnormal white blood cells, if your white blood cells are excessively multiplying and present in the circulation, there is chronic myeloid leukemia. Okay? So CML happens when there becomes a new gene which is your BCR-ABL1 gene. Okay? This is the result of the translocation between chromosome 9 and 22. Yan. Also called as Philadelphia chromosome. Okay? So, however, though what's great about having Philadelphia chromosome, actually, it's a good prognosis because now we have target therapies, okay, for against your BCR-ABL1, okay, to neutralize the cancer. So the drugs could be imatinib or Glivec to turn off the switch. Okay, galing, no, guys? So here, so we're done with fluorescent. You need a fluorescent microscope. Ma'am, what if there's no fluorescent microscope in the laboratory? Could we still use in situ hybridization? Yes, no? So if the method is chromogenic in situ hybridization, you don't need fluorescent microscope. You just need a standard microscope, okay? So the probe here is your favorite enzyme and substrates, okay? So you need enzymes and substrate. The substrate produces a colored product or a precipitate which could be observed under standard light microscope, okay? So pag ang ito horseradish peroxidase tong enzyme natin, if I'm not mistaken, pag horseradish peroxidase, red ang color. Pag alkaline phosphatase, blue ang color, no? So, it could be seen by the naked eye. Okay, so it is detects your gene amplification, pathological diagnosis, molecular testing, and cancer biomarker evaluation. Okay, so this is that type of permanent staining. So what's great is if the sample was already stained, you can use this. It has easier slide storage and interpretation. Next. So now we're on the third one. Now you could use silver. So silver produces a black signal that is visible under light microscope. Okay, so it's used for amplification of genes when it comes to cancer, a biomarker, and it's for clinical pathology diagnostics. Your metallic silver acts as a permanent signal, no? It could never die down. It's high resolution and used for automated detection systems. Is the last na ba? Radioactive in situ hybridization, no? So, for the dish, ayan, gumagamit ng mga radioactive substances, which is dangerous for the environment, di ba? It uses phosphorus-32. Yan, we have encountered this. Or sulfur-35. So, pag narinig nyo na yung autoradiography, they used a radioactive label, okay? So it's also used for gene expression. If there is excessively low naman of expression of genes and molecular biology investigation. It's highly sensitive and it's great. No, however, bad for the environment. Okay. So this one, last two. We have digoxygenin labeled in situ hybridization. I searched if this is widely accepted and popular. This is widely accepted, no? Reference say digoxygenin comes from plants, no? So it will not produce background noise. Since it came from plants, humans and animals do not have this. Hence, your tissue will not create any false positive results when it comes to this test. That's why it's highly specific and good sensitivity. Okay? So it's safer than most radioactive methods. So this is a combination eh. You use this non-radioactive hapten, this DIG na lang, and it could be detected using anti-DIG. The substrate produces a colored or fluorescent sample. Yan. Okay, so it's good for detecting DNA and RNA, gene expression, developmental biology. So if you want to observe the changes in the genes of a growing individual, ganyan. Localization of specific nucleic acids. Key features, non-radioactive or safer than your radioactive methods, high specificity and good sensitivity. It produces stable and permanent signal just like your silver and produced in research and diagnostic laboratories. So next is biotin labeled in situ hybridization. So actually these labels, I also discussed this in histopathology. So biotin is a good label. So when we say, ma'am, ba't kailangan ng ganito, mga iba-iba pa yung label, may fluorescent, may chemical, no? So they differ in specificity and sensitivity. Okay, so biotin is a vitamin, no? Vitamin 7. So, they are constantly researching of other labels. Okay, so pwedeng research yan. After hybridization to the target RNA, the biotin label is detected using streptavidin or avidin conjugated to an enzyme. Prospe. However, um, there is all when we use biotin, we still use enzymes and substrate. So kung may enzyme at substrate, you could use a standard microscope. Okay? So, features, non-radioactive, safe to handle, high specificity due to biotin and streptavidin binding na. No, this is good. No, these are good labels. Produces a stable and visible signal and widely used. Okay. So guys, this is the summary of our different labels in terms of in situ hybridization. No, may fluorescence. However, ang upside sa fluorescent, it fades. No, and unlike your chromogenic, however, ano naman siya, low naman yung sensitivity compared to fluorescence. So, digocydinin is highly sensitive. Okay? So, unlike your biotin, there could be false positive kasi biotin could be is present in our body through vitamin B7. Yan. Very high sensitivity radioactive, no? However, it's toxic for the environment. It's difficult to dispose. Yan. So guys, thank you for listening. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.